my YouTube channel, my live stream. This is Jacob Cat 2024. We're going to do WWE Summerslam 2026. This will be an hour and 20-minute live stream. We're going to talk about SummerSlam tonight. The show, I think, just went off the air. I think it's over. This was a 6-match card and it went about 3 hours. Hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. This video is sponsored by PlayStation, sponsored by JD from New York, Salamato Sound Off, Fightful Pro Wrestling, and other podcasters that I know of. I just want to say thank you for watching, thank you for all the support. Enjoy this video. So, we're going to talk about SummerSlam Night 1 during the Minneapolis. Now, before I go into some of the podcasters here, we're going to talk about SummerSlam. Now, I'm making a video on my WWE 2K game, not on. I'm not playing NBA 2K. I'm playing the NBA. I'm playing WWE 2K.
And we're both telling me, "Yo, get these fucking people off the show. What is this?" They both said this to me. So I'm telling you. So both.
Alright, here's the pre-show. So we got the post-show. It's on right now. They're going to show the press conference. Only 6 matches on the card. This show was, I don't know what to call this show. If it were good or decent. Some were good on this show, some wasn't. I thought they had a great opener with Liv Morgan and Io Sky and a great ending. Liv Morgan retains the Women's World Championship. We did get the 6-man with the Bloodline against Solo, LNI, and Roy Kidd. It was decent. Map was fine. The women's 6-man was decent. Fatal Influence won, and the Bella turned heel. They attacked Paige and they turned on her. Who cares about that? Who gives a shit about the Bella's heel turn? Now, this a one-off or they're gonna be on TV more? I hope not. I want to see Bella's on TV again, being forced. We did get Gunther and Nick Gallagher with a very good match. Nick Gallagher was over, had a decent entrance. He was over tonight, he got thin ovation. Gunther and Nick Gallagher with a very good match. He celebrated with his family and the fans gave him a nice ovation. CM Punk and Cody Rhodes was a very good match. We had the return of Randy Orton. Mr. RKO came out of nowhere. RKO Cody Rhodes cost them the title. Punk retained. And then the main event was the Hell in a Cell. Surprisingly, this main evented. I thought Punk and Cody went main event, but the Hell in a Cell match main evented. That's the bigger match with the best feud and stipulation. Over Family and Brock Lesnar had a very good Hell in a Cell match.
He's never physically looked better.
Over Family defeated Brock Lesnar, ended truly the end of the feud.
I think when you go back to WrestleMania, there was part of Brock Lesnar who might have thought it was a fluke. I got caught. Every great fighter, every great combat athlete has those fights where you think you have a game plan and you just get caught. And I think that was what was going through Lesnar's mind. It probably reinforced that thought at Clash in Italy when Brock dispatched of the ruler relatively easily with 7 F5s. No one knew how this was going to play out. We got a definitive, and that is beating on Cody. Had a shocking return. This was a wrestling purist's dream. 2 of the best in the game competing for the undisputed WWE Championship. Both superstars landed their heaviest artillery, but to the shock of the entire WWE Universe, the Viper would return. Randy Orton taking out Cody Rhodes with an RKO, completely unbeknownst, might I add, to CM Punk at the time. WWE ring in a championship match. Tombstone on the exposed.
Were you surprised to hear Brock Lesnar describe you that way, to come over and forego the handshake and give you a hug? I mean, what can you say about that moment?
The hug and the public endorsement was definitely a swerve. I did not see that coming.
A definitive jacket that had. Liv, massive congratulations to you. I did see a tweet that said that
The torch pass.
time, right?
Yeah, so now let's talk about SummerSlam tonight. That was night one. Night one was fine. It was decent. Io Sky and Liv Morgan was a pretty good opener for the show. After that, we got the 6-man match. Man, Solo Sikoa pretty much turned babyface. During the match, Solo Sikoa started a yeet party, pretty much copying Jey Uso's yeet thing. It was actually pretty entertaining, pretty funny. Solo Sikoa is actually hilarious. He's really improved, really stepped up his character changes. Now, they did beat the Bloodlines. I think LA Knight pinned Jay with the help of Solo. So Solo, Royce Keith, and LA Knight won this 6-man match. Nick Aldis used Alcis for Epic for WWE entrance. Nick Aldis and Gunther. The Bellatrix assault pays after the match was over. Randy Orton started RKO and Cody Rhodes. There wasn't that much in it, you know. Not that much was really in this. Brock Lesnar weighed over Femi's hand.
I have a friend with benefits.
5% cashback rewards.
WWE doesn't try to go back in a different direction with Solo. Keep the baby.
Brock Lesnar at one point in the match hit a tombstone on Obafemi onto the exposed wood horn. Pretty much mimicking the Undertaker's finisher. Okay, remember last time we saw Brock Lesnar in a Hell in a Cell match, was it the Undertaker? I think it was Undertaker. In 2015, about almost 10 years ago. About a decade ago. That was the last time we saw Brock in a Hell in a Cell match with the Undertaker. So we wanted to give that a shout out because they had a great rivalry. Okay.
With Brock Lesnar. Again, thumbs up. In terms of the show, this was a refreshing night of WWE professional wrestling. I have been so overwhelmingly negative to WWE over the last 4 months. And I think justifiably so. I don't regret any of my negative thoughts towards the WWE programming because the WWE programming, for the most part in 2026, has been bad. So,
match instead. And again, maybe fans are used to, like, matches have to be in the crowd. Like, I love...
Punk retained. Did Brock really retire? We don't know.
Brock might get bored sitting at home on his ranch, and he might just get the itch or feel like he wants to come back, or WWE might have a good opponent for him or something like that, and he unretires. Roddy Piper, Mick Foley, Terry Funk, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, they all unretire. So I can't be foolish enough to believe that Brock is going to do it for real. I do believe Cena. I believe him. Brock, that remains to be seen, but I would like to think that this would be it for him. I'm not Brock Lesnar, you know. I'm not Polish Joe. I don't know what it's like to be in the head of Polish Joe, but if I was, I have no reason to come back. What's he going to come back and do? Everybody's beat him, so he's going to come back and then start beating the top stars again. We're going to go back to that, you know, at Brock's age and shit. You know, like a lot of wrestlers and a lot of people retire across all forms of sports or even entertainment, actors and, you know, and athletes and everybody across the board. You know, you retire when there's nothing left to do, when you have nothing left to prove or no one left to beat. You know, for Brock Lesnar, the only reason I think he would be useful to hang around is so he could put over Gunther and put over Braun Breaker, but certainly not win anything. You know, I don't want him to come back and beat Obafemi next year, Brock Lesnar. Obafemi in an amazing way, and the
world needs to be protected from magic. I am.
Sure, this is Obafemi.
But that man, I think it's in the body, but not.
But the build wasn't there, and therefore the matches couldn't go into that peak status, into that
Rare Air SummerSlam type of vibe that you were hoping for. And I think that I could see your criticism being valid. I think that if you were just to pop this on and show it to somebody, they'd be like, wow, this is some really good wrestling. But you would know that, hey, that story, they couldn't get it there. Like Io and Liv, great match, but imagine if it had a story behind it to kind of tell the tale between the two. And then when you look at the ones that did have a story, like the six-man tag, Nick Aldis versus Gunther, they did deliver there. But when you're looking at Cody and CM Punk, because of the lack of the story for something that should have been main event because it was for the undisputed title, for them not to get there until the last moments, requiring a Randy Orton to come in there to spice it up a bit, I think that's where your kind of hiccups are, Denise. And let me know if I'm kind of in that in ballpark.
Kind of. I hate to be this person, but I didn't think the match quality was there either.
Okay.
I felt like, and obviously we'll break down the matches, but I just genuinely did not feel like it was there. Like the build was not there, the match quality was not there, and the moments were not there. Again, besides that moment that you mentioned, Randy, I would say Randy coming out here and, getting that massive pop that he did because he's Randy freaking Orton. Great. That was fantastic. Awesome. And then obviously Oba getting the big win, him kicking out of the tombstone. I would probably say that those were probably some of the stronger moments because even the heel turn in the women's match, I kind of felt like it felt a little cold. It didn't really feel like, oh my God, the suspense is there and is she going to really do it or is she not? We were more so just sitting here being like, all right, here it comes. At least something's happening on the show. Cool. There it is. Nice.
I see what you're saying. So you were hoping that this night would set up stuff for the future a little bit more, I guess, more clear, right? Like,
yes,
you look at night 2, I think night 2 has a little bit of that future, right? What's the future of Roman and Rollins? What's the future of Finn Balor and Sami Zayn? Who's going to go on to the number 1 contender? What's the future of going forward of the interim women's championship, right? That's a whole huge, big deal. What's the future of Chad Gable? Like, is Chad Gable going to be the one that finally overcomes everything? And, of course, you have the United States title with Trick and Baron Corbin. But for me, going into the main event, like, I was shocked hearing as the day progressed, as I was streaming, that the main event was Brock versus Oba, right? And you and I kind of talked about in our kind of build up to this is like, will it meet the the level of perfect packaging that WrestleMania was? The big match, the upset of Oba beating Brock retiring, like that was a good capsule moment. But then when you bring it here, we're like, okay, at least Hell in a Cell, you're going to have a violent match. You're going to have the Hell in a Cell feature where you cannot contain these guys. And I think because the level of the length of the match and the tame violence between Oba and Brock, I feel like we never got to that stratosphere that we're talking about where you're like, okay, we're in Rare Air here. We're in like an all-timer Hell in a Cell, bad blood, like Drew versus Punk, like that kind of level. And I know a lot of people are going to be I think the tombstone on the Bear ring will be a talking point for a lot of people. In my eyes, part of me goes, why pull out the tombstone if it's not going to be the finish? Because it's interesting because you look at AJ Styles versus John Cena, they did do the tombstone, but then John Cena followed it up with an AA to kind of solidify that ending. So it is interesting that Brock Lesnar was kind of calling on to the spirit of The Undertaker. He did the sit-up, which they missed production-wise. He did the sit-up, and then he did the tombstone. And then it's unfortunate that Oba and Brock missed the fall from grace onto that Bear ring because it was just like, oh, you could see Brock's eyes like, oh, we missed it because like it was supposed to hit there to be the amplification of the arrival of Oba Femi.
Yeah, so, breaking down that match that you just spoke about with Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi, yeah, that moment was kind of funny where he did turn and he was like, oh it's all the way over there. It's not over here where we're at. But, yeah, you're right about that tombstone spot because that was the most memorable moment. And I remember thinking, like, when he hit it, I thought, oh, my gosh, if Oba kicks out in here, like, this is going to be such a massive moment for Oba because you're making the man feel superhuman in that he kicked out of this. This is massive. Like, there's people that is a finisher on the regular mat. Like, now with the exposed and the wood and everything there, that makes it far more, deadlier, more scarier, right? And the fact fact that he did kick out from that, awesome. Now, I think for me, a lot of it, I really went into this with high expectations. For me, Hell in a Cells, I love the idea of telling the story with violence. I love the idea of seeing people get pushed to their limits. Sancho, how many times on Hell in a Cell haven't you heard commentary always say that this match takes years out of your career, right?
Mm-hmm.
It sells the fact that you are going to step into a brutal matchup that, hey, this is not for everybody. Only the bravest of the bravest, only the ones who are most mad with whoever they're in a feud with are going to even dare step into this. And I didn't really feel like they captured that energy that we have seen captured throughout multiple different Hell in a Cells. Even like the most recent one that you mentioned, which was CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I remember I was at that show for Bad Blood in Atlanta, and I just remember being like, oh my God, this was so good. And having that moment of eruption where I'm excited and I'm jumping from my seat. And I didn't feel like I had that today with Brock and Oba. And I also kind of feel like the fact that the rest of the show didn't also build up to this, I feel like I went into the Hell in a Cell less excited than I was when I originally, then, this morning, when I woke up this morning, I was like, yeah, we're going to watch Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi in a Hell in a Cell. I can't wait. And then by the time we got to it, I was just like, okay, so we're finally there. Because I think my enthusiasm with some of what I was seeing came through in the sense that the tone of the night just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I think the tone of the night basically told me, hey, don't really expect too much. You're not going to get your 25-plus minute Hell in a Cell. They didn't. They went under 15. And fine, whatever. I guess that's all Brock can do right now. But in that case, I had a lot of people during the watch-along that were saying, well, did we even need the Hell in a Cell here?
That's a good point. I mean, it was a good money mover. It was a big ticket seller with them announcing the Hell in a Cell. I would have to say what I liked about SummerSlam as a whole is that it did not give me vibes of ad mania. We didn't feel like, oh my God, we're getting hit with ads. It felt like a more traditional PLE, especially with the Big Four. It felt like the wrestling was more front and center, which I did like. And even the commercialism of the Gears of War match, the six-man tag, even Cody Rhodes' Street Fighter commercialism with the Guile helmet and the Guile theme song, like all that felt kind of natural to me and didn't really feel out of place. So like I did enjoy that we went back to those things, but I will have to echo the sentiment of the idea, or I will have to mention the elephant in the room, right? Brock versus Oba. We could have had Oba versus Roman, Oba versus Punk. We could have had a coronation of a new heavyweight champion, an undisputed champion, right? The moment was there in front of us, and Oba went to Brock. They double dipped into Brock versus Oba, and then they tried to redo the passing of the torch moment again. And I just feel like it was overhand, like it was a heavy use of the passing of the torch versus the simplicity of WrestleMania that was more symbolic of the passing of the torch versus the let me get him in the ring, let's do the promo, let me say it bluntly as possible, I'm the past, here's the future, this is Oba Femi. But I will have to say this, it's a green light to Roman Reigns. It's a green light to CM Punk. There is no substitution for Oba Femi. If he goes to the mid-card, if he goes to a random feud, even going through the bloodline, he can't, it should be straight to the top. Next PLE needs to have a title match, like immediately for Oba Femi, but that's how much juice they invested into Oba by beating Brock here at SummerSlam.
I'm afraid that they won't do that. I thought they originally would, but I'm a little afraid. I think I agree with you. I think that they should get right as soon as we possibly can. Maybe not as soon as, because I'm thinking to myself, they might want to save Roman and Oba for, because after this, what do we got? We got Money in the Bank, so it's not going to happen at Money in the Bank.
It's Survivor Series, right?
We got Survivor Series, but that's going to be War Games, so it's not going to happen there. So what? Do we wait until the Rumble? To have the 2 Rumble matches and then a big title match? But I'm like, does it need it? I don't know. I don't want to. Maybe we wait all the way until WrestleMania. Does that feel too far? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to figure out where in the schedule this whole Roman Oba match is going to finally take place. Does he have to re-earn it too, by the way, or does he still?
I think so.
We had this whole discussion last time, but it still hasn't really been too clear to us.
I think he does have to re-earn it because they did say he foregone. So
that Rumble, maybe
Rumble win, Right, but he has to dominate that Rumble. He has to have if the WWE has billed Obafemi as the next Brock Lesnar, that was literally the words that Michael Cole said. Like, this dude is the next Brock Lesnar. He has to surpass that Royal Rumble performance that Brock Lesnar did. We eliminated at least 18, 15, 16 people in a row. Like that is the level that you've given this guy. Like, Brock Lesnar went from winning at SummerSlam or winning at SummerSlam the title. That's where Brock Lesnar got his title. So we're a little bit delayed in that run, but I'm in the camp that I will not accept any excuses from the WWE if Owo does not get a title match either at Mania or before Mania. There was just no other reason that he doesn't get one.
Exactly. Now, Brock Lesnar, does he go off and finally face Gunther? What do you think's next for Brock?
Oh, that'd be so annoying if he faced Gunther. It's funny because Michael Cole, I always pay attention to the commentary because I feel like that's the thing that the WWE is trying to tell us. We're planting a seed in our heads, and they planted the seed of, we don't know if this is or is not his last match. Like, we don't know what Brock's going to do because Brock does what he does.
He's going to come back to get that Mania paycheck.
Yeah, and I mean, is it going to be like Brock versus Omos, right? You remember that? Like 39, right? Are we going to just get something like that?
Yeah, something easy just for him to get that paycheck. Yeah.
That paycheck, or is it going to be Gunther? Because if it is Gunther, I feel like today they properly reset his power. I know Nick Aldis put up a big fight, but I know people were like, hey, this shouldn't be like a Pat McAfee. Well, Nick Aldis is an actual wrestler. He's a former champion from a different promotion, so it would make sense for him to go a little bit further, but I still think they made Gunther perfectly, power-suited. He tapped him out. We saw, there was no, what's the word,
no doubt. There wasn't really any doubt, and there wasn't any moment that I felt made Gunther look like a loser, okay, just to put it plain and simple, because the man hadn't, yes, Nick Aldis does, he's still, of course, he's a wrestler. We know his history. They showed his accolades. We know all of that, but he hasn't wrestled in 3 years. And Gunther is not just any wrestler on the show. He's the career killer. He's gone above and beyond. So, yeah, you can't at any point make Gunther look less than. And even though Nick Aldis had a couple of moments where he had some offense in and maybe surprised Gunther a little bit, but for the most part, I thought it went the way that I thought it should go. It was a slow-paced match, a couple of hard-hitting moments in there with Gunther hitting him up with all those chops and then getting him with those elbows, really tiring the man out. And then that's it, winning, and Nick Aldis still getting his moment. But you know what I do want to tell you, Sancho, about this is that they didn't really give any indication as to whether or not Nick Aldis is going to resume as a wrestler or if he's going to resume as a general manager. So my idea was that on Friday, I want Nick Aldis to come out and cut a promo where he says, at SummerSlam, my dream finally came true. I had a match I had my first WWE career match ever. It was against Gunther, and even though I thought that I could defeat him and it didn't happen, and I lost the match, and then boo, all the moments, I didn't lose. What I did win in this match, though, is the feeling that I once again need to be in this ring. I need to be a professional wrestler, and I need to do it here in the WWE, really rah-rah, the speech at the end. I genuinely think Nick Aldis, at this point, it would be weird if he took the steps back to be a general manager instead of taking steps forward to being an actual wrestler, because the fans like him. Look at the reaction that he got here today. He got a great reaction, and people were respectful of him. They were excited for him, gave him a standing ovation because they realized what this meant for him. That's personally what I think. I think he should continue on as a wrestler.
I think he does lose his power because Gunther always said, I slept you. I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to listen to you anymore. You got slept, and any heel would bring up that you got slept by Gunther. So I'm hoping that that's the case, that he goes, I got one more in me, or I got to run. But I look at the roster, and there's really there's no room for him. That's the problem. I
feel like there is, though.
Where?
I mean, if there's room for, I feel like there's room in there. The United States Championship division, we have the same 5 guys that are having the same matches.
You want him and Trick to have a program?
Why not? Might as well shake it up.
I would love to have him. I would have him and CM Punk. This is what I do have to applaud with AEW, is they give you those random matches. Yes, they do go long sometimes. They like, how can this wrestler take a long time to get rid of this lower card wrestler? But I would love to see CM Punk and Nick Aldis for a title. Like, why not?
Right, that doesn't hurt anybody. We gotta try shit, Sancho. We gotta try shit because right now we're coming off of a week where we had a mid-Raw, I hear a bad SmackDown, and now a mid-Summerslam night one. We cannot stay here. We need to get out of this slump that we're in.
With more wrestling. Because I do feel
wrestling, excitement, just fucking thinking outside the box, Sancho. Like there's nothing that feels grand. Everything feels so tame and in the same old.
It would have been nice if Oba hit the tombstone on Brock. That would have been shit.
And then did the Undertaker stuff too.
And then hit him with the fall from grace like Cena did. But I don't know. I think I've always had this in the back of my mind that the WWE gets to a moment and they never think about that next moment above it. You're here, sounds great, but what if we did a little bit more? Like, what if we did a little bit more? What if we, like, instead of just having a basic brawl and beat down of Paige, what if we horse collar her with a chair and stomp on it? Or, you know what I mean? Just that extra level of violence that would make, damn, Nikki and Brie Bella are different. Like, put her in and then slammed on that chair. Holy. And same thing with Gunther. Like, yeah, you let him tap out. Like, why don't you just keep that locked in? Send a message to Nick Aldis, right?
There you go. Exactly. Do a little extra. Sprinkle something on top of it.
Maybe knock over Mickey James. She could take a bump, right? Maybe
of course.
A little bit of a zest. Because I think when you look at Grande Americano versus the Grande Americano OG, they went that extra step. Like, they took it from, we had high expectations for that match, and then they just went further. Then they went further. Then they went a little bit further. And then when you think that even though the bell is rung, they can't go any further, they go one step beyond what that great promo from Chad Gable. So it's like, that is for me my barometer for wrestling. Because in the modern day where social media, kayfabe, and all that can go, when we know who is the real Grande Americano, allegedly, and we know who is OG Grande Americano, we could suspend all that and take a minute, and take 30 minutes out of our life and watch that and believe it and come out with that awesome ending. Then any wrestling promotion can do that, and any match should strive to reach those heights.
I agree. We got Matalik here who says, with all the great pay-per-views that AEW has put on this year, you would think WB can at least do one. Shaking my head, especially when there's the second biggest show. Let's hope, fingers crossed, that night 2 goes a lot better. Thank you so much, Matalik. We got Mitaro here who says, Sancho, we told you so. Oh yeah, so this is about quite a few things, but the big one is, your boy, remember that you said, I think the bloodline is gonna win.
Oh, yeah,
and
I did.
You didn't even have faith in your own boy, LA Knight. And I said, no, Sancho, Team Solo Sikoa is winning. When they won today, I was thinking to myself, Sancho, I can't believe it. When the moment came to have your boys back, you dropped the ball. How does it feel?
And he won, because I always had his back. So
how does it feel, Sancho, to be wrong?
I stop having his back, he wins, and I'm happy.
Okay, so maybe if you don't... Have we stepped into an alternate universe where LA Knight only wins if I pick him and you don't?
That's it. I will forever do this now on this show, on the post shows. I will never pick LA Knight.
That's it. You can never pick LA Knight ever again. And let's see when it ends.
Only here.
No, you can't. You gotta stick with your guns everywhere, Sancho.
October 10th, folks. October 10th. LA Knight Day. LA Knight Day. We're there.
You need to make a sign that says LA Knight Day.
Think about it.
You really need to.
Think about it, Denise. He pinned Jey Uso. Come on. No, hey.
What do you want me to do about that? What do you want me to do about that?
Everybody's like, what? They're just one-word catchphrase. Yeah versus ye.
There you go.
Yeah wins today.
Okay, thank you, Victoria. We got Montel Blitz here. Says, after that, Liv win rocks is the Money in the Bank favorite. Yeah, so let's talk about that. Liv Morgan versus Io Sky. I had a lot of people here that were very upset that Liv Morgan retained. I never thought she was going to drop the title, only because how embarrassing would it be if she lost her first title defense? That would be insane. And lost twice to Io Sky. it just would not have been good for her. And I thought to myself, like, okay, in that case, like, I know everyone's going to be upset. I know everyone hopes for a new champion because everyone thinks if we get a new champion, we're going to get more title defenses. No, we're going to get more title defenses when the creative team and everybody there starts giving the women more title defenses. Then that's when we're going to get to it. But they would have done Liv Morgan wrong, I think, if she would have lost here. I think it would have been like, wow, like you held the title for 100+ days and you didn't defend it once, and when you did, you lost.
What's interesting is, Triple H had that criticism on the internet where he said, I wish people would criticize the wrestlers than the writers for making those decisions. And in my mind, we'll let Liv Morgan turn down matches. Let Liv Morgan say, no, I don't want to fight. I want to do because I'm the greatest of all time. Then I could shift the blame to Liv Morgan for not being a defending champion holder versus blaming the WWE for not even letting her turn, like not even giving her an opportunity to tear them down. Like, those are the kinds of things that I critique WWE for by not showcasing the ladies. And that's what I mean when you look at this match. This match was a big, like, statement piece for the women's division that you can give us 0 time for the build and we could put on a banger match. That's one of the best matches of the night. Liv Morgan and Io Sky. I like the way it all unfolded. Even though the decision may not be people's favorite, that moment where Io was able to counter out of the Oblivion and that pop-off moment, that was outstanding. I like that moment more than Oba kicking out of the tombstone because that felt like proper Io showing up and then just not having enough in the tank to overcome Judgment Day and Liv Morgan retains. I think they set the tone beautifully for this night, and I think that WWE took a lot of time to catch up to what Liv and Io Sky did at the opening match of the night.
It was essentially a 3-on-1. That's exactly what that was. This match was definitely better than their Crown Jewel match. Yes. I do think I agree with you. It was one of the stronger matches on the show, probably this one and the Hell in a Cell. But even then, like for me, I thought to myself, oh man, they could still have even better matches, to be real with you, because we've seen them. Like, I know what kind of matches we can get, and that's kind of what I was thinking there. But anyways, we got Lions 1079 MD who says, I'm giving night 1 an 8 out of 10. Oh, that's generous. This could have been a 9 for me if it wasn't for that abrupt ending. The wrestling was solid, and they actually gave time for everyone else to cook. I did appreciate that comment about that both you and Lions made, which I was wondering, and I thought it was a little crazy, but I had felt like we were seeing less commercials. And I thought, oh, is this really actually we're getting less commercials, or am I just used to these commercials? Like, which one is it here? Because I didn't time them. I don't know how many we did or didn't have, but it definitely felt like a lot less, and I didn't feel like the matches suffered the consequences. Like, I'm sure if we did like a side-by-side comparison of the night of the match times that we got here versus the WrestleMania ones, actually, they're a little close, to be honest with you. They're a little close, but they don't feel as atrocious as they did it for WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I think it's just the pacing of it, and I think because Mania had high expectations and it was such a jarring surprise that we didn't get the wrestling that we were promised, that is why. And I think the WWE recognized that and they gave us the wrestling that we were promised because even that Unreal documentary where Liv Morgan goes to the back and says, how do we do? And then Triple H is like, you did great, you saved us some time. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that was, I didn't love that totally at all because I'm always, advocating here for more time for women's matches. So you never want to see that happen.
And Liv being proud that they saved them.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Because would they do that for them? What if they needed more time? Would anybody do that for them? Would they give up their time for the women? We don't know. Thank you, Lions. We got Isworld here who says, Sancho DP did try to cash in on Seth in War Games. Sancho was right. Oh, okay, DP. I was like, who's DP? Sancho Damian Priest did try to cash in on Seth in War Games. Santi was right. P.S. LA Knight not winning Money in the Bank and missing War Games. Oh, you don't even think he's going to be in the Money in the Bank? That's crazy.
This is the pain that I go through every day, Denise.
Why?
Being the number 1 LA Knight Glazer. Everyone says he's not going to be the winner. And he's not going to be
being a Glazer for LA Knight.
Just let it go.
Let it go.
I'm sorry. I make my opinions and I stick with it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people just make opinions because they want to be right and be cool.
We got Kami Juhad here says, do you see it now, Sancho?
Talking about Obafemi? I don't know. Does the WWE see it? Clearly, they want him to be the next Brock Lesnar, but will they give him the tribal chief? That is up to debate on Monday.
We got Hex Robin here who says, I think Solo face turn changed the outcome of the match. Oh, 100% agree.
100%.
He has been doing so good, and it feels so refreshing. I'm excited for Solo. I can't believe it. I'm a fan. Who would have thought? But no, I genuinely think it would have felt weird if they would have kind of cut the legs up, because this is the first time he's ever had any sort of motion, any sort of momentum behind him. I felt like they would have cut the legs underneath him if they would have had the bloodline. But right now, especially this iteration of the bloodline, I hate to say it, but it's stale. It's not good. I'm not in it. I can finally say it out loud with my chest out. I'm not a fan of what they're doing right now with the bloodline. So yeah, you know what? Give me something a little different with Solo Sikoa, shaking it up with making amigos here with Royce Keys and LA Knight. Hey, I'll take it. It feels different, and Solo is doing a good job with his promos. The promos is really what's doing it for me, the comedy stuff. The wrestling, I'm still not like a big in-ring wrestling fan of Solo Sikoa, but I like the personality, and that's 50%, so good.
Yeah, I agree with that because I feel that the WWE gave him an opportunity and he knocked him out of the park. Everything, like, it was 2 weeks of like Raw, SmackDown, and Raw that he just nailed every single one of the moments he had the microphone in his hand.
Agreed. Thank you, Robin. We got Nightwolf here who says, does Brock Lesnar have health issues? Because why can't he put on classics like he used to? I have high expectations when it comes to his matches. I think it's just father time.
49 years old.
Yeah, like how old is he?
49.
49, man. He's about to be 50, the big 5-0. I just don't think that he's just old. I hate to say it that way, but that's the best way I can think of saying it.
Well, to be fair, his match qualities rely on his intensity, his athleticism, and at the same time, like, the dude will suplex you a million times, right? Olafem is not a small dude. For him to still do that multiple times was still great, but I just think, like, you got to look at it like a heavyweight fight. You're just not going to have a lot of gas in that tank. I feel that the WWE could have produced it to be able to give you what you want with I think what we were all looking for was that NXT Olafemi, and we got a little bit of a taste of it, but we were hoping that we could go the distance, because if it was going to be Brock Lesnar's last stand, it could have felt like more of a marathon between the two, and we still got that short ride between.
Yeah, I even feel like they could have used more weapons to kind of slow it down, but fill in the gaps and not make it feel like they're slowing down just to catch their breath.
Throwing in,
Right.
cage rating, yeah.
Right.
A little bit of, like, trying to break through. I would say, like, if I was giving it a rating based on previous Hell in Cells, it was probably not one of the...
We're likely ever going to see these two men in the ring together. One night to go. 2-night SummerSlam, which did not need to be. Night one is in the books, and my takeaway, again, as I just said, is that SummerSlam definitely does not need to be 2 nights. I would like to hope that we can all agree on this, because it is very clear the only reason that SummerSlam is 2 nights at this point is so that they can fit in all the ads. There's no other reason. There really is no other reason. It really hit me when it was over. Like, you know what? You could have had one big, and I'm not saying it has to go 5 hours either. One big night of SummerSlam, that's all you need. But they want to sell as many tickets in one weekend as they possibly can, and so this is what we are left with. And night one actually was the stronger of the 2 nights on paper coming into this weekend. I'm not sure what that says about how SummerSlam is going to end up, but we shall see. The WWE Championship. You would think coming into this show that was going to be the main event of the show, that was going to headline. I was very surprised when I read earlier that, in fact, the Hell in a Cell match was going to get top billing on this show. And it told me also that the likelihood of there being a Cody Rhodes heel turn was probably slim to none. If there was any real hope of anything like that happening, that's the sort of thing that if you're going to do it, you close the show with it. And so that kind of gave away to me, all right, maybe we shouldn't be expecting anything like that here tonight. And it became very clear in the main event why that WWE Championship match did not go on last. When I watched Brock Lesnar tearing up the ring mats, he was ripping up the canvas, he was exposing the boards underneath. I said, oh,
Okay, now it makes sense why this match is going on last. So they headline with Hell in a Cell. This was a big endorsement for Obafemi. All right, let's get the good out of the way first. The fact that they put this match on last and you knew Oba was going over because this could end no other way. That was a big endorsement of Obafemi. We got an actual endorsement when it was over from Brock Lesnar, who hugged him, who got on the mic, who verbally put him over. He didn't even do that with Cody Rhodes 3 years ago. After Cody beat him and then he raised Cody's arm, I don't remember Brock getting on the mic and basically cutting a short promo and putting the guy over. So they did that for Oba. They left the ring to him. They closed the show night one with him tonight. They've made it very clear up until this point that Oba, they see him as the future. He got a win over Brock at WrestleMania. They made him king of the ring. And tonight he got to be the man to end the undefeated streak of Brock Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell. So they're all in on Obafemi. But as I reflect back on what we got in the main event tonight, I was left very disappointed. Even though we got the right ending, we got the right outcome, all of that was exactly what it needed to be. They went out there, though, and had effectively the same match they had at WrestleMania and Clash in Italy. This one was a little bit longer than the last one. This one had a little bit of plunder. It had a giant cell surrounding the ring, but really, was this match all that different than the other matches these two men have had? It really wasn't. This was the blow-off. This was the payoff. This was the final time that we're likely ever going to see these two men in the ring together. They've been playing this feud out now since March. And then when they announced the Hell in a Cell stipulation, especially given that the last time we had a Hell in a Cell match was that 5-star affair that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre had. That was a violent, bloody match that really did live up to the stipulation. That was 2 years ago. Excellent Hell in a Cell. Best Hell in a Cell match that we had in many, many years.
Let the parasite piece
When they
of
announced
shit
Hell in a
rot in
Cell,
hell. You
I
do
wasn't
realize
really
hell
expecting
cares
it to live
every
up to
day
those
more.
expectations.
You don't like it? Too bad.
But I said, man, I really
I think
hope
you have a
that
serious
they at least
problem.
give
If you
them
have
more
people like
time
that who are condoning murder
and that they
for
can
a
give us
crime,
something
you have a
special.
serious problem.
And they can give
I
us
don't
something
think this is
memorable
an
here,
easy
because if
case
they're
for
going
the
with that
prosecution.
stipulation, they
You
must
really
have
to
something
raise
up their
people
sleeve.
in the-
You know, they must have something planned here for
Otherwise,
it.
you have the problem here.
The Hell in a Cell was not needed. As we look back on what they did here tonight, this was a complete waste of the Hell in a Cell stipulation. Cell never even came into play at any point during the match. It's very clear the only reason that they actually even advertised the Hell in a Cell match, when this easily could have been, by the way, like Last Man Standing. You could have done something else. And we saw Brock many years ago here on this show have a quality Last Man Standing match with Roman Reigns. I would even argue it may have been the best match those two have ever had. And they've wrestled like 50,000 times. They got creative in that match. They did some pretty unique stuff in that match. And that's why that match is memorable. You could have done something like that. The Cell was not needed. The only reason they did it is because they wanted Oba to be able to say, I am the man who ended Brock Lesnar's undefeated streak inside Hell in a Cell. And when I say undefeated streak, I should put air quotes around it, because the man had 2 matches in his entire fucking 25-plus year career inside Hell in a Cell. Does 2 matches really constitute a streak? I'm not really sure. It doesn't seem to me that it does. But that's why they did it. Why did they make Obafemi King of the Ring if they weren't going to live up to the stipulation that the winner of the King of the Ring gets to choose the champion that they want to challenge at Summerslam? Because they didn't give a shit about that. They wanted him to have the title of King of the Ring. They want to be able to call him the King of the Ring.
Undertaker, Kane,
that's the only reason we got a Hell in a Cell match on this show. So it sucks, because I had high hopes for what they could potentially do inside or outside the Cell. 2 big guys like that, it wouldn't be difficult to imagine they would do a spot where they would kind of go barreling through the cage wall. They would end up outside and do some stuff outside. But, they kind of exhausted the announce desk spots in the previous match, and you got 2 guys here. They're not climbing to the top. You see how tall that cell is? They're not climbing to the top of that. So this is what we were left with, and that was just very underwhelming. But you know what? Even more than that, my biggest gripe with what they did here in that main event, right when it felt like the match was about to kick into that next gear, it was was about to elevate into that next gear, it was over. Brock exposes the boards underneath the ring, and now the fans are coming to their feet like, oh shit, what do they have planned here? What are they going to do? And people are getting excited. And 60 seconds later, the match is over. Right when it was starting to get good, it ended. And it was very flat. Because I was expecting more. And then it was over. So to me, that was my biggest disappointment here with what they did in this match. Not even 12 minutes, that main event went. They could not even squeeze 15 minutes out of that main event. Now, the WWE Championship match went just shy of half an hour. So that got plenty of time. But this one, unfortunately, couldn't even get 15 minutes. And I'm not even saying that this should have gone 20 minutes or anything like that, because, look, you got two guys like this. Brock is very limited in what he's going to do. You know that Brock is not going to go in there and do anything too crazy, right? He'll take bumps, but he's not going to take, like, big bumps. And he's not going to wrestle the way that he used to wrestle 20 years ago. It's going to be a lot of suplexes. It's going to be a lot of the same shit that you always see Brock Lesnar do. Oba also is limited in what he can do because he's a big guy. You know, what's he going to do? He's going to be in there doing technical mat wrestling? He's not. So it doesn't have to go absurdly long. But unfortunately, you know, when it was over, it was just like, man, there was more meat on the bone, especially if this is their last time working together. And I just wish we would have gotten more out of it, because for a main event, it was over, and I just felt very underwhelmed. It was just very disappointing to me. The outcome, though, was the correct outcome. As far as that goes, I mean, they did exactly what they needed to do. Anything other than that would have been completely ridiculous. I don't give a shit where this show was. Oh, it's Minnesota. Who gives a fuck? The only outcome here that made sense to close out the feud was Obafemi beating Brock Lesnar. Because as Brock himself said when the show was over, I'm the past. You're the future. He's not just the future, he's the here and now, right? He's getting pushed now in a big way. And if he isn't world champion by WrestleMania next year, or at WrestleMania next year, he'll be champion before that. So he's the here and now, and Brock is the past. So he was right, you know, when he said that. And you want to get over the future, Brock has nothing left to gain by, you know, winning a big match like this. It would serve no purpose. So they did what they had to do as far as that goes. I don't know if this is it for Brock. There's been a lot of rumor and speculation that this could be his retirement. I don't think anybody is buying into any of that bullshit after the stunt he pulled at WrestleMania this year. Taking off the gloves, taking off the boots, crying in the middle of the ring. And so even if you had come out tonight and said that I'm done, right? I'm officially done. Would anybody even believe him? Probably not. Do I believe that Brock Lesnar is done? No, I don't. I don't. There'll be an offer for him to come back and do another WrestleMania or do some other big match, and he'll come back. Or make a cameo or whatever it may be. But if it was going to be the end for him, he went out exactly the way that you would hope he would. He went out putting over the future and doing the honors on the way out. At the end of the day, that's really all you can ask for. We did have the WWE Championship on the line. It was Cody Rhodes challenging CM Punk. First time ever. First time ever since both these men returned to WWE. The one time they wrestled each other, again, it was like 18 years ago. Something like that. I mean, it may as well have been their first time in the ring together. I mean, the two men you saw in the ring tonight, not the same people that were in the ring on Monday Night Raw, okay, back in 2008. So for all intents and purposes, first time ever match here. I was, at one time, very bullish on this being one of the WrestleMania main events this year. And I think it could have been, you know, had creative gone in a different direction, that could have been a WrestleMania main event this year. We got it on pretty short notice here for Summerslam. And I think all you really needed to do to sell this match was to have one or two really good promos, right? Because these are two good promo guys. Punk's a great promo guy. We never really got that. We had this kind of manufactured thing where Punk accidentally hit him in the face with the belt strap at Saturday night's main event, and then this house show the other day where Cody didn't know who it was, and he gave this really phony-looking back elbow. Like, come on, dude, you knew exactly who it was. And it all just felt very forced and very manufactured. And even the in-ring promo work between the two of them, it just felt very flat to me. So coming into the show, this match just didn't feel like as big of a deal as it should have. Which is too bad because I still feel like, even now, I still feel like this could be a really big match at some point. But by that point, maybe better off if one of them is a heel and not both of them being baby faces, because that also kind of hurts it a little bit. But we had the title match tonight, and we did get a big return at the end of that title match, factored actually into the finish of the match, and that is Randy Orton. We have not seen Randy Orton since he punt kicked Cody Rhodes in the skull at the end of WrestleMania Night 1. And then he vanished. He went away. And there was a lot of speculation about him being injured. Dave Meltzer reported that there was a back injury. Randy Orton chimed in. People took that to mean it was a denial. It was never a denial. I'm sure the man was hurt. Whether it was his back or not, who knows? But he was hurt. That's why he disappeared. And I hope he's healthy now. I hope he's healthy enough to stick around and not disappear again, because him kicking Cody in the head and then vanishing really seemed to fuck up their creative plans, whatever they were, as if TKO didn't fuck it up enough at WrestleMania. So now Randy Orton is back and he costs Cody Rhodes the match. Unbeknownst to CM Punk, who didn't see any of this, Cody gets dropped with an RKO, and it leads directly into the finish. CM Punk is still the WWE champion, which I completely expected. And now we're looking at a Cody Rhodes-Randy Orton feud, non-title. There's so much I could say about this, going back to WrestleMania. You talk about feuds that I had been looking forward to, because there was a lot of history there, and it was just untapped. They had stayed away from it for so long, and that this was going to be the year finally we're going to visit the whole Cody and Randy thing. And they had little, teases of it over the years and little backstage segments on the television show. But we're finally going to get it this year, and they fucked it up. And it takes a lot to fuck up a Cody Rhodes-Randy Orton story. But they managed to do so. And yes, there was a very good reason why. And we can't put that all on Triple H and the creative team, but nonetheless, they fucked it up. And when it was over, I didn't have any interest in seeing it again. So now all these months have gone by. Pat McAfee is but a distant memory. And now they're going to try it again. We're going to go back to the well once more with Cody and Randy. And I'll give it a shot, but my interest level ain't nowhere near what it was at the beginning of the year to see that match. I really hope they could put something together to heat things back up and get me excited and get me invested in this again, because they did a lot of damage with what they did going into WrestleMania this year. But that's the direction we're going in as far as those two. I don't know how long it'll be before we see Cody and Punk back in the ring together, but this was only the first match. And it ended up being a good match, but they clearly were holding back in certain regards and leaving a lot more for the future. Maybe the future isn't until WrestleMania, in Saudi next year. Because right now Cody is going to be occupied with Randy Orton, which, by the way, that opens up CM Punk to, I say feud with, but he can have a lot of little mini feuds. He can defend that championship against any number of people on SmackDown. Look at all the people he name-dropped a few weeks ago. Right? Not just Sami Zayn. He name-dropped Damian Priest. He name-dropped Trick Williams. And he might have mentioned Royce Keys. I don't really remember. But there's a whole bunch of people where he can sort of branch off and he can have a little mini feud with this person, and he can wrestle that person and defend the title against this guy. And don't forget, there's another big name that is rumored to be on their way back very, very soon. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow. He is in Minneapolis because he had some signings, and that is Kevin Owens. And I'm dying to see a feud between CM Punk and Kevin Owens. I don't know that I would go right into it as Owens' first feud, and then he loses his first feud. I don't think he needs to jump right into it, but I would hope when he comes back, he's on SmackDown. And they can build to Punk and Owens. That's a feud. That's a first-time ever match that I'm very much interested in seeing. So for Punk, he's got plenty of people that you could pair him off with, and then circle back around to Cody at some point, maybe early next year. But this was only match number 1 between them. I thought it was good. Speaking of good, we had a Women's World Championship match on this show between Liv Morgan and Io Sky. That they actually opened with, that I thought was very good. No title changes on the show tonight. WWE Championship did not change. Women's World Championship did not change. We also had the debut of Nick Aldis in ring. Aldis it's weird saying the debut of Nick Aldis. Aldis has been on the roster as the GM for 3 years now. But it took this long for them to put him in the ring. We had not seen him wrestle in WWE until tonight. This was the man's dream. He wanted to come here years ago. And finally he came, and they didn't have any interest in putting him in the ring. So 3 years go by. He's 3 years older. You don't know what you're going to expect. I'm sure this all came together on relatively short notice. And, he keeps himself in good shape, but still, it takes a while to get yourself in ring shape. And you don't know what the guy's going to look like. He showed up tonight. He was in great shape. It's not like he got gassed out or anything like that. He looked great in the ring with Gunther tonight. Gunther was just the perfect, shit heel opponent for him. They went out there. I was very happy for Aldis that he was able to get that moment. His wife and son were at ringside to watch the match. The crowd was super into it. They were fully behind him. They were fully invested in seeing Nick Aldis, how they want him to beat Gunther. So it all worked out very well. And when the match was over, I was wondering, okay, well, where to now? Does he want to wrestle full-time? I don't know if they want him wrestling full-time. He does a very good job in the GM role. Why would they want to replace him? And we got our answer when the show was over. For those who didn't see on the post-show, there was a segment in the back where Aldis confronted Triple H. And he handed him his letter of resignation. Because he said, look, I was the GM, but I had to fight Gunther, and I was relieved of my duties, and I understand what I did, and so here's my letter of resignation. And in the end, Triple H basically ripped it up and said, I'm reinstating you as the general manager of SmackDown. So everything's back to normal. Nick Aldis is back as the GM. It doesn't mean that we'll never see him back in the ring ever again, but if he wasn't coming back full-time, it just is very awkward. How do you do, storyline-wise, how do you do that? Just to have the one match with Gunther, right? He had to temporarily resign his position as the GM. So what does that mean? Every time he wants to have a match with somebody, he's got to temporarily resign as the general manager? You kind of have to shit or get off the pot. You got to make a decision. Do you want him as a full-time wrestler? Do you want him as a GM? I think there's more value to him as a GM. It's not like, the roster, they so desperately need Nick Aldis on the show. They don't. He'll serve them better in the GM role. And then if a storyline comes up, or if you cameo in the Royal Rumble or something like that, he can be back in the ring. Maybe he'll get a WrestleMania match one day. But we have our answer now. He's back to being the GM. And at least he got his one moment. Stipulation it was. But still, it was Obafemi doing what he needed to do, which is beat Brock Lesnar in the main event, with Brock putting him over at the end. And I can't shit on that. That's exactly what they should have done. But when the show was over, this is SummerSlam. And it didn't feel like a big SummerSlam to me. It felt very safe. It felt very underwhelming in many ways. If I had to grade this on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably go 6. I think that's fair. Maybe 6.5. I would not go higher than that. And again, think about it. This was on paper. I think most people would agree. On paper, this was the stronger of the two nights. And this was a 6 out of 10. What does that mean for night 2? I don't know, but we'll talk about night 2 tomorrow. Right now, I'm here to talk about night 1. This is your SummerSlam night 1 review for 2026. If you don't know who I am, of course you do. I am the Solid Monster. Thank you for being with the host tonight. Apparently, capacity doesn't mean what it used to mean. So we did have Michael Cole lying to us multiple times and telling us it was a capacity crowd. It was not a capacity crowd. But they still had something like 37,000 people there. That's still a healthy crowd. At US Bank Stadium, it's not an open-air stadium, but I guess they must have like a transparent roof because the sunlight was shining through for even during the main event. We had sunlight. Hell in a Cell doesn't hit quite the same way when it's still light outside. It's like when Sting wrestled at WrestleMania, his one WrestleMania match. It's Sting. He's a dark character. He comes out, and it's just fucking sunshine. The clouds are out. It's bright and sunny. It just doesn't hit the same way. So, I don't know if it's the entire roof or just a portion of the roof, but you could see the light shining through.
One of the things I learned in the Google project management.
No.
Saturday night. I'm not volatile. I'm not angry. I'm sure I'll yell at some point in this live stream tonight. I'm more so disappointed. I'm disappointed in WWE. I'm disappointed in you fans. I'm disappointed in everybody who supports this show and is clinging and hanging on to whatever you think the old WWE is. It's dead. It's dead. This administration just doesn't give a shit about anything. They don't. I don't know how else to express myself, but I feel disappointed. Triple H wanted to make this show better than WrestleMania. He knew, we knew, everybody knew, even though they boasted about how big their numbers were and how many people watched and how many tickets they sold and how much revenue they had for the live gate for WrestleMania this year. The card was underwhelming. I think that is a common theme with everybody. The card was underwhelming. Night 1 was fucking awful. Night 2 was largely very good. Spearheaded by CM Punk and Roman Reigns. He wanted to make up for WrestleMania. Card was underwhelming. The overabundance of advertisements and commercials and short matches. I mean, it was just a recipe for disaster. It really was. Every single human being with blood pumping through their veins complained about WrestleMania in every aspect. It was a terrible viewing experience. The soul and the essence of the show was killed. It's all commercialized. There was nothing wrestle about WrestleMania. He knew he needed to come out for Summerslam, which is what they brand as the WrestleMania of the summer, the biggest party of the summer.
That's my thought. If you have people
He
saying
needed
that
to
and
put
condone the murder
his
for a
best
card,
foot
then
forward.
there's a problem. I don't think this is
One of the matches that he announced was Obafemi and Brock Lesnar Part 3 inside Hell in a Cell. Then we got Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, which would have been the WrestleMania main event this year if Rollins didn't get hurt at Crown Jewel last year. And then we get CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. Legitimately the biggest match that WWE can put on right now that's not Rock and Roman. It's the biggest match they got at their disposal, which was also supposed to be a WrestleMania match this year, but once again, Seth Rollins got hurt at Crown Jewel, and plans for everything fell apart because of one man's injury. For all the people claiming that tonight was a fun show, I don't really believe any one of you. I'm trying to find where the fun is. Seriously. You know, when I watch a show, as much as we watch Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown week in and week out, week after week, month after month, and you're constantly beaten over the head with how awful the show is and how awful the writing is and how this don't make sense and that don't make sense and a bunch of nothing happening. What makes a show like tonight for you? Genuinely curious. What makes a show like tonight fun for you? Is it the fact that it's a major stadium show and there's hype and pomp and fireworks and all this big presentation? Is that what's fun for you? A showcase of big matches. Is that what's fun for you?
Well, just think about Trailblazers are pretty common.
I don't find that to be fun at all.
Like the one in New York, and
I don't. Do you want to know why? Because when we go into a show like today, night 1 of SummerSlam, I'm not having any fun. I watch, I consume, I look at my clock, 2.5 hours in, we're all And I'm sitting here in front of you, and I'm wondering, what did I watch? Why do I feel robbed? Why do I feel like they gave me half of a show? Why do I feel like it's a company operating as if they don't give a shit? Do you know what would have made tonight fun? Actually delivering on a PLE. Do you know what would have made tonight fun? If the television show coming into tonight over the last several weeks was actually up to standard. Do you know what would have been fun if we got an actual SummerSlam show worthy of being called SummerSlam? Everything is seemingly worse in 2026 than it was in 2025. Everything. So can I ask, what was so fun about this show? You want me to sit there and pat this guy on the back and give him a rounding applause, right? Resounding applause. Good job, Triple H. Good job, man. You did a good job tonight, man. Like he's a little fucking child.
The manhunt is now.
Great job, man. Great job, man. Let me put a little sticky on your little toes, man. You got a D minus, man. You tried, but you know maybe you'll come out swinging next time, man. There's always a next time. There won't be another fucking next time. If he keeps this up, there won't be another next time. So again, I ask everybody with a fucking brain cell, that of a fucking crayon. What exactly did you find fun about this show? Does anybody want to chime in? I'm all fucking ears.
That's a very, very serious offense.
What was fun?
That's a very serious offense. Well, a high bond. When we accept a bond, we believe that a high bond was necessary. Obviously, he's not charged with homicide, but they
the weekly television shows are so fucking terrible. The weekly television shows mean absolutely nothing. That when we get into a PLE,
you really think you're something else, don't you?
And this may be a product of the fact that they're on a streaming service and they're not really charging people like Tony Khan is charging $40 to $50 for an AEW pay-per-view. This is where Tony's mentality of needing to deliver comes in. And I might not like what he's doing right now, but this is where Tony's mentality of delivering on pay-per-view always comes in, because he knows that when people are paying good money for pay-per-view in 2026, which is an outdated concept when everybody's on streaming, he always delivers. Does he sometimes over-deliver? Yes. But you can't sit there and say that AEW doesn't deliver. He tries his best to give you what he feels is your money's worth. For everybody that said this show was fun, WWE is nothing but a raging disappointment. From top to bottom, in every aspect. If you are going to deliver television shows the way that you have been delivering television shows for basically all of 2026, your PLEs need to over-deliver. They need to over-deliver. You need to come into a SummerSlam and you need to give me the best possible fucking show that you could possibly deliver. From top to bottom. Did WWE do that in your eyes tonight? If your answer is yes, you are part of the problem. You just accept slop. You have legitimately fear of expressing genuine concern and genuine criticism for a product that deserves absolutely zero praise. Oh, tonight's show was fun. Let me erase everything that I had to sit through coming on into tonight's show, because I had fucking fun with SummerSlam.
Well, I had to catch up to speed and say he convicted of all the charges. Now get my appeal.
don't know how to deliver. They don't know how to deliver on a PLE. Their PLEs are just Monday nights and Friday nights disguised as ESPN and Peacock specials. That's all they are. There's nothing premium about these shows. How can you sit there and claim that SummerSlam was everything it needed to be when we only got 6 matches and we were in and out in 2.5 hours? 6 matches? I would understand if you watch SummerSlam of yesteryear and you got 9 matches and you were in and out in 3 hours. Vastly different time period to be watching pro wrestling compared to 2026. At least they fucking tried. How can you sit there and claim that SummerSlam delivered on everything it needed to deliver tonight, which on paper was the better of the 2 nights? And they still came off disappointed. How do you expect them to actually have a great show when the television coming on in was as fucking terrible as terrible could be? You come in cold, you're gonna leave ice cold. You're gonna come in with nothing, you're gonna leave with nothing. It doesn't matter what they do or what they say. In and out in 2.5 hours. I wouldn't even say that tonight was better than WrestleMania Night 2. And WrestleMania was largely fucking terrible. Night 2 saved the entire weekend for WrestleMania. Night 2 saved the entire weekend. Legitimately, you look at Night 2 of WrestleMania. Seriously, you look at Night 2 of WrestleMania. We got that first Oba and Brock match. Everybody was kind of tickled with excitement because it was the first match between those two. Las Vegas was as hot as they were all weekend for the 4 minutes and 25 seconds or whatever it was for Oba and Brock. It was impactful. It was exactly how everybody expected it to be. And we got the right outcome. Then we had the ladder match. Remember that? Penta defending the he defended the Intercontinental Championship in a match with Javon Evans, J.D. McDonough, Dragon Lee, Rusev, and Rey Mysterio. Remember that? I do. They went almost, 15 minutes? The ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania was better than everything on tonight's show.
10 dangerous people have another 3 if no one had been arrested.
Trick Williams and Sami Zayn. Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio.
Well, they claim had a lot of help.
Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill even had a good match, and that says a lot when I'm praising a Jade Cargill match. Everybody thought their Clash in Italy match was better. I did not. I stuck to my opinion, and I said their match at WrestleMania was better. And then we got Roman Reigns and CM Punk, which, I mean, by all accounts, was better than legitimately everything on this show. So again, I ask, when you compare it to WrestleMania, and Triple H was reportedly wanting to make this show better than WrestleMania, and it didn't deliver better than WrestleMania, what would you like me to say? What would you like me to come on here and say? The only difference with tonight's show is they came out really good. Io and Liv Morgan had a 13-minute match, I believe, right? Yeah, they went 13 minutes and 35 seconds. I'm like, all right, we're off to a very good start. This is a very good start to tonight's show. I mean, they went almost twice the amount of time that Liv and Stephanie Vaquer got on night 1. So right out of the gate, they were a lot better to start this show. There wasn't much coming in, and this match was a lot better than what they did in the Queen of the Ring final at Night of Champions. But Liv almost had to come out and have a great title match, because this was her first title defense since she won the championship from Stephanie Vicaire at WrestleMania. LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, Royce Keys, the Bloodline. This is fun for you. The whole storyline is rinse and repeat. The whole storyline is snooze fest. What was fun about it? The best thing about the match was Solo Sikoa, as he continues to just break away and break out of that shell and show us how entertaining, standing next to his brothers, he really is. Solo Sikoa had a very positive evening in a match that did nothing. In a match that did nothing coming in and nothing coming out. It's 2026, man. I'm not having fun with Bloodline slop. Give me a break. I'm not. But I can sit here and finger point Solo Sikoa as one of the highlights of tonight's show. Gunther and Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis looked fucking great. If there was any match on this show that needed extra time, it should have been this one. 11 minutes and 40 seconds. According to Wikipedia. 11 minutes and 40 seconds, and he looked fucking great.
This is really a 5-page diary.
He is once again now the SmackDown General Manager. So this right now was a one-and-done situation. He will go back and resume his duties. But he had a great night. He lost, but he had a great night. I wouldn't say that was better than anything else on WrestleMania Night 2, but it was a good showcase match for Nick Aldis. Fatal Influence, Paige and the Bellas, they went 7 minutes. The commercial break that followed went longer than the fucking match. Bathroom break. No, but you want me to have fun. And then the Bellas turned on Paige. I mean, it was telegraphed like a motherfucker. Who gives a shit? Are we really excited about a Bella Twins heel turn in 2026? After we just had a heel turn not too long ago with Nikki Bella? Didn't she do that last year against Stephanie Vicaire? Only to then turn babyface because her sister Brie got major over in the Royal Rumble by delivering her husband's it kicks, yes kicks. Now you want me to buy into a Bella's heel turn again, all over again. Nobody gives a flying fuck. CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. 30 minutes. I enjoyed what they did. I even said as much on Twitter after the match was over. I thought this was a good first match. I thought that this was a good first match. You can tell that this is going to be a series of matches. They will meet again. I had fun with this. I'm a big fan of both guys. But was this better than CM Punk and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? On no planet was this better than CM Punk and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. No planet. It was an old school match. They did what they needed to do. We got the right outcome. And we got Randy Orton coming back and continuing his feud with Cody Rhodes. All in all, I would say they did very good for themselves. But was it better than Punk and Roman at WrestleMania? No. No. And then Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. Hell in a Cell. This was legitimately one of the first matches that WWE signed on for this card. And they thought by putting it inside Hell in a Cell that it would generate interest and sell some additional tickets and get everybody excited about seeing what could be Brock Lesnar's final WWE match. Inside Hell in a Cell, how do we make it different from the previous two matches? Let's put them inside Hell in a Cell. Triple H is going to sell this match like he's selling fucking high-end Rolexes to fucking really, really expensive people. Paul Heyman comes out here claiming it's going to be the Broctagon and it's going to be violent and it's going to be chaos. Yet here I am after watching 2 hours and 20 minutes of a show, asking myself, did that really need to be inside Hell in a Cell? If WWE took away the Hell in a Cell and made this match a no DQ or a last man standing or a street fight or whatever stipulation you want to give us, not inside a steel structure, and they went 12 minutes like they did tonight, it probably would have been the best match of all three. But the fact that WWE contested this match inside Hell in a Cell, it ended up being one of the worst of the entire night because of the sheer levels of disappointment that we all felt collectively when the bell rang, Oba won, and we're all collectively asking ourselves, what the fuck is that? Is that it? So again, I ask, where are you having fun with a company that showed you they are not capable of having fun coming on in here? Maybe your idea of fun and my idea of fun are two completely different things. I didn't have fun with this show. That doesn't mean I thought it was a fucking terrible show. But if you aren't disappointed in what we got tonight, man, you are more than part of the problem. More than part of the problem. If WWE is going to be as lazy as they have been with their television shows, they need to come out and give us absolutely blow-away shows for these PLEs. This was not. I don't know how it could be going 2 hours and 30 fucking minutes. I don't know how it could be when you give us 6 matches, half of which could have been contested on fucking Monday night or Friday night. I don't know how that could be when the first thing that we see is a Wingstop ad twice in the first 5 minutes. Did you guys know that tonight's sponsor was Wingstop? Did you guys know that tonight's sponsor for the 6-man tag team match with the Bloodline was sponsored by Gears of War? Did you know that tonight's sponsor for Gunther, the ring general, against Nick Aldis was the General Car Insurance? Did you guys know that tonight's Cody Rhodes and CM Punk match was sponsored by Street Fighter as we were bombarded with Street Fighter imagery and Street Fighter advertisements and trailers up and down? I get it. Once is enough for me. It's like the nagging wife who continues to ask you, do you know where you're going? Do you know where you're going? Bitch, I have the GPS on my dashboard. What the fuck are you telling me? I know where the fuck I'm going. I got AI guiding me where I'm going. And you don't even need AI. You don't even need GPS. Once you get in the mindset of finding something familiar or seeing something that kind of sticks out, you know you're going in the right direction. No, I gotta be bombarded with fucking Street Fighter ads for fucking 15 fucking minutes before the goddamn World Championship match takes the fucking ring.
Well,
4.5 minute ads, another 2 minute of ads, Wingstop, this, that.
I'm not used to doing that, man.
WWE Radio. You found fun with this show. And no, I won't stop complaining for the fucking idiot already probably typing away in the comments section. No, I'm not going to stop complaining. And no, I don't hate everything. No. No, I will not. Do I go to your fucking job and tell you how to fucking flip the hamburger at Burger King? Shut your fucking mouth. You're in my chat room.
Hey, what's up, How's it going? How's it going?
Do I come to your fucking job and tell you how to sell cars? Do I come to your fucking job and tell you how to teach kids at your school? No,
No. Either one girl. Hey, they will if you want. There we go. Oh, it's open. That's weird.
I want to get this off my chest before we get into the actual review here. I already see the division it's causing, and I've already blocked several people on Twitter. Oh, JD hates everything. Oh, it was good. Oh, it was this. Oh, it was that. Motherfucker, you missed my point completely. As usual, because nobody fucking comprehends and nobody has the ability to read.
I'm not reading that.
If you are not upset,
I'm not reading that.
if you are not frustrated, if you are not disappointed, I find you to be fucking weird. I do. I do. It is a natural thing to be given something and shown advertisement for something only to be let down.
Yes, right here. I'm not reading
Every
that.
single time I see a band or a television show or whatever it may be, a video game, claiming that this is going to be the biggest and best, or one of my bands, oh, this is going to be the heaviest album we've ever put out. And it's like, fucking, I listen to it, I'm like, what the fuck were you people thinking sitting in a music studio and putting this shit together?
I can just punch you in the face if you keep talking like that.
Or a television show saying this is going to be the most epic season of all.
You keep talking like that.
And then you're sitting there and you're watching and it's like, bro, the best thing about this series ending is the end credits.
I'm not in a good mood today, so I can even do this stuff. Oh, we make it.
Triple H put the scam in Summerslam. This year, he took my phrase, he took my event, and he legitimately put the scam in Summerslam. And nobody seems to care.
Yeah,
all Triple H did was put Oba and Brock, match number 3, behind one of the most unique, once upon a time the most unique, one of the most vicious, once upon a time the most vicious, one of the most brutal, once upon a time the most brutal, matches that the company has ever created. A match that served as finality for a feud. A match that was created for 2 individuals, or multiple individuals, depending on which Hell in a Cell you actually watched. Created a match for 2 individuals that served as a battleground for anything goes. This is it. Let it all out. Let it be the end. Blood, violence, gore.
First of all, they
a scene for situations that you usually don't see on WWE television. Triple H gave you and advertised to you a Hell in a Cell because his creative is dog shit. He used you and used you for your excitement, your emotion, or anything else that comes with that. He used you for your money, he used you for your interest, and he used you as a human being. He used you as a human being as worse as a fucking prostitute on Pacific Avenue in Atlantic City. This guy legitimately whored you out and sold you something and didn't deliver.
I know people hated that, but he went out how
he put 2 guys. He put 2 guys, Brock Lesnar and Oba, inside Hell in a Cell, and told them to go out there for 11 minutes and basically do nothing to give us a Hell in a Cell. Why was this match contested inside Hell in a Cell? Can someone answer me that question? What was the point of Hell in a Cell? You mean to tell me now we're in a current state of WWE, we're in 2026, and only 2 years ago, we are removed from only 2 years ago, from one of the best Hell in a Cell matches in the structure's history. We are only 2 years removed from CM Punk and Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell. Two guys who are two of the best storytellers in the entire industry, going in there for 25 minutes and giving us a blood-soaked, violent affair that once again rehabilitated what it means to be inside Hell in a Cell. And now, only 2 years later, he puts two of the most dominating figures inside the same match and has them utilize absolutely 0% of the cell. Did you have fun with that? If you had fun with that, I'd love to see how you reacted and what your fun was when you watched CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. If you aren't disappointed that the fact that Triple H basically whored you out and used this to prop up his own terrible creative and get basically pity tickets sold for SummerSlam, and then failing to advertise everything that comes along with being inside Hell in a Cell, how you could sit there and support this company is absolutely fucking mind-boggling to me. And these people will never learn because everything WWE does is the greatest of all time. Everything WWE does is the right move. I had people claiming this was a good match. I had people claiming this was the right match. I had people claiming that I complain about everything. This was fine the way it was. No, it wasn't. Fine. It would have been fine if the cell was omitted. It would have been fine if this match was a regular match. It would have been fine if this was a last man standing match, or a no DQ match, or a Minnesota street fight, or whatever you want to coin it as. It would have been fine if it was a regular steel cage. Even those matches don't even feel the same anymore. Brother, we used Hell in a Cell as if kindergarten students came with their fucking action figures on a Tuesday morning doing show and tell in front of their fucking friends and classmates. Oh, look at what we got. We got Hell in a Cell. Triple H used Hell in a Cell as show and tell tonight for Obafemi and Brock Lesnar, but nobody seems to have a problem with that. Nobody seems to have a problem with that. There is more harm by taking Triple H's road than me speaking so down on what they did tonight. You do realize that the concept is now fucking dead. I never, and I swear to fucking Jesus Christ, never want to see another Hell in a Cell match ever again. They have absolutely ruined, castrated, embarrassed, demoralized, and dehumanized the Hell in a Cell concept. It is over. It is over. And we are only 2 years removed from Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. Which is fucking insane to me. Insane. How you have two men as violent and brutal as everybody says this match was going to be, from Triple H to Paul Heyman to fucking WWE Radio, and everybody shilling this fucking company in this show. How you can sit there and not feel a level of disappointment unlike any other after what you got in that main event. Which begs the question, why did it main event? Why did it main event? You do realize that not only did you kill the Hell in a Cell concept completely by what you had Oba and Brock do in there, which basically utilized none of the fucking structure, you bypassed the WWE Championship match, the biggest title in the entire fucking business. And you put it on in the co-main event for a fucking match that did nothing to live up to the standard of what a Hell in a Cell match should mean we got this news earlier in the day that this match was going on last. I said to myself, I'm torn. On one hand, you got the WWE Championship match, which comes with all the prestige and being the biggest title in the industry. But then you got Cody and CM Punk, who don't really have a story coming on in here, and everything just feels overly forced. Maybe they'll develop a story coming out of this, moving on into the next week's televisions. Then on one hand, you got Brock and Oba, which actually does have a story. And it's inside Hell in a Cell. And it could be Brock's last Summerslam. Could be his last match in Minneapolis. We could get a formal Brock Lesnar retirement.
Isn't it?
If you gave me a Hell in a Cell match that embodied everything a Hell in a Cell match should embody. Blood, chaos, carnage, fucking destruction, a car crash, a multi-car crash on I-95 type of match. Then I would have no problem with it being the last match in the main event of SummerSlam tonight. So not only did you big league the WWE Championship for no reason,
We'll have to make a lot of money.
not only did you take the biggest fucking single match that WWE has at their disposal right now between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes and put them in the semi-main event, the co-main event. You gave me a match in the main event that didn't even live up to not only the main event, but not even the match that they were contested in.
So I actually don't mind. I do like drinking beer.
And no, I don't want to hear about WWE being on Wall Street and TKO and this and that, and they can't do this and they can't do that, and Brock Lesnar's 49 years old and he can't bump and he can't do this and he can't bleed and he won't do this and he won't do that. Then don't fucking do it! Then don't do it! All they did was give you a Hell in a Cell to fucking get you to buy a ticket and then not deliver a Hell in a Cell. How anybody willingly buys a ticket to this fucking unfun, unserious slop. I feel absolutely zero pity and zero sorrow for you. I guarantee you more than half of the people that left this show felt disappointed at the end of that fucking show. What was the point? What was the point? You ruined the Hell in a Cell. The match would have been fine as an 11-minute, 12-minute match without the cell. Everything they did in the match could have been done in a regular match because they're Brock Lesnar and Obafemi. You moved the WWE Championship match, which should have been the main event, to the co-main event for a match that did not come as advertised before we got here. No blood, no destruction, no cage being destroyed, nothing. And no, I'm not asking for a Mick Foley fucking spot on top of the cage where both guys come falling off the side of the cage. Motherfucker, even Shawn Michaels, in his fucking year, hung off the side of the cage from one of the panels and went through a fucking table. CM Punk jumped off the fucking top rope through a fucking table tonight. And you mean to tell me that WWE cannot do anything that closely resembles what we used to do back in the day? This is the same company that had Rikishi fall off the fucking top of the cage onto a bunch of fucking hay bales in the back of a fucking farm truck. And you mean to tell me you can't book the Hell in a Cell to be, I don't know, fun? But then I gotta hear from fucking low IQ box of crayon fucking retards on social media that they had fucking fun with this show. What the fuck was fun? All I see is a company that is a shell of its former self. Shane McMahon. They had Shane McMahon. Shane fucking McMahon, who's not even an active pro wrestler. They had him fall off the fucking top of the cage through a bunch of fucking pillows. Through the announce desk. And you mean to tell me that we can't even come close? Not even 1/10 of what they did with Brock and Oba? I don't want to hear the excuses anymore. I don't. For as terrible as television has been, you need to give me something that is going to be memorable. You need to give me something that is going to embody what a premium live event is going to mean. For as terrible as the television show has been, you need to give me something that will absolutely be the best PLE that you could possibly book. And they go about it as if they do everything else. Not a fucking care in the world. As long as they got the General and fucking Taco Bell and Wheatley's and fucking Street Fighter and Wingstop and MaxiPad and the General and whatever else, Domino's, whatever else, DiGiorno, whatever else they want to fucking advertise and throw in your face. They'd rather throw that in your face than give Gunther and Nick Aldis an extra 5 minutes in the ring. They'd rather do that than give LA Knight an extra fucking 3 or 4 minutes in there with the Bloodline. They'd rather do that than give me a proper Hell in a Cell. They'd rather do that. They'd rather do all that than give me something that resembles an actual pay-per-view. Bro, this entire sport is so disheartening. It is genuinely so disheartening. I'm tired of sucking up to these fucking people. I'm tired of listening to the fucking fans who tell me all I do is complain. Bitch, you people are accepting mediocrity and you don't even see it. They have manipulated every single fucking one of you and you don't see anything bad. None of these haters, none of these people will even think about what I said. Not even an iota of what I said. And say, you know what, I think this guy's right. Maybe I'm asking maybe it's too much. Maybe I'm asking too much in 2026 to give me a fucking proper Hell in a Cell match when, I don't know, we got one that resembled a Hell in a Cell match only 2 years ago with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. They had blood and fucking thumbtacks and they had fucking that spot with McIntyre on the steel steps. Oh, this shit sucks. This shit is so fucking garbage. It is so fucking garbage, bro. Everything about this product, it is just garbage. And outside of the usual suspects who are very open and honest, you won't hear a fucking peep about any of this stuff from anybody. They'll be like, oh yeah, it didn't resemble a Hell in a Cell. Oh yeah, it wasn't needed, and move on to the next thing. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody. We're living in a day and age where WWE gives us very little. We're living in a day and age where AEW gives us way too much. I don't know what time Dynamite ends on any given Wednesday. 1 week it could go 2 hours, the next week it could go 2 hours and 14 minutes. This past Wednesday it went 2 hours and 34 minutes. I'm like, bro, please. Please, just end the fucking show when the TV guide says so, please. I don't need an extra 34 fucking minutes on AEW television. Pay-per-views now moved up an hour, starting at 7 and not 8, yet they still go off the air at 12 midnight. I don't need to see 10 matches on a show with every fucking one of them going 25 minutes. I also don't need to see WWE give me 6-match PLEs, claim that they're premium, and then they're in and out in 2.5 hours. One company gives us so little, and another company gives us way too much. There is legitimately no in-between with these fucking people. A middle ground would be, can I just get 3.5 hours worth of fucking pro wrestling? Can you book 7 or 8 fucking matches on this show? Can you give me something that resembles SummerSlam? Why are we giving people less for more? But I guess this year they're charging $25 for entry fee into fucking US Bank Stadium. So I guess the 6 matches equals the $25. That's all it was fucking worth. But on a normal night, can we get 7 or 8 matches on each night for SummerSlam? Can we start getting 7 or 8 matches on these fucking PLEs? Why are we giving people less and charging more? Why is one company giving less and charging more? Why is one company giving too much and then burning out their fucking audience, leaving me uninterested to watch anything else? I want to enjoy my pro wrestling. I want to have fun with my pro wrestling, but both companies seemingly can't get the recipe right. Television shows matter on a weekly basis because the television shows are where the stories develop. When the stories develop and you get weeks of television that develop story for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks leading into the next pay-per-view or PLE, then when those stories are developed and you actually have stories that are emotionally driven and you have characters that you're emotionally invested in and everything's clicking, then when you watch the PLEs, you're more excited. You're more interested in what the pay-per-views are going to deliver. Am I speaking a foreign fucking language? We don't get that over there. We're not getting it over here. Now, 6 matches is enough. Now, 10 matches is enough. If it's up to him, he'll do 12, 13. Television is important to tell stories. Every week, it's the same fucking thing. No stories, random matches, pay-per-view leads, to nothing with random matches. And in WWE's case, they love to gaslight their fucking audience. Yeah, we'll give you a Hell in a Cell and then not deliver. We'll book the biggest match that we got at our disposal, and it'll be overly forced. Our women's division is in fucking shambles, but we'll give you Io Sky and Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan, by the way, who hasn't defended the championship in over 110 days. Everybody loves the bloodline. Meanwhile, the only people that we give a shit about in that entire storyline is LA Knight and now a renewed Solo Sikoa. Nick Aldis and Gunther had one of the strongest stories coming into SummerSlam, and they only gave them 11 minutes. I'd love for someone to factually correct me and come with an argument on anything I said. I don't think you can. Tell me when I'm telling any sort of lies, or if I've given you any misinformation. Disappointed. This year, night 1, Summer Scam really reared its ugly head.
What?
You were all scammed.
Actually, no.
You were all
I
gaslit.
live in Randolph.
You were given something,
I
and the
live in
company
Boston.
failed
I
to
don't
deliver.
live around here. I live in Randolph. Well,
Highly
I live in
disappointed.
a small town in Randolph.
And I don't expect many people to speak up because you willingly just accept their slop and move on to the next show. Everybody's already getting ready for night 2. We got to see Money's on a pole match, Human Money's on a pole match, and we got to see fucking Lash Legend and Jade Cargill compete for the Women's Championship.
Well,
And we got Baron
hospital?
Corbin versus Trick Williams in a feud that doesn't even
It's a
really make
small
any sense
town.
because
There is no fucking
WWE
hospital.
has given no time for anything to develop there. And then we got Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns in the main event, which is like pulling teeth to get anybody interested in what they got going on because nobody expects Roman Reigns to lose the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know. Maybe I just want too much. Maybe I just ask a little too much of my pro wrestling. I don't really see what the big deal is. I don't see where I'm asking for too much in anything that I complained about here. Yet everybody's going to come at me and say, JD hates everything. Bro, the company hates you. The company legitimately hates you. What they gave you tonight is a company that hates every single one of their fans and doesn't give a fuck what you want or what you think. It is time for you to open your eyes to that last statement. Because everything that they did tonight was basically give you the middle finger. I'm not asking too much. I'm not asking too much. I'm asking for a Hell in a Cell match that delivers on being Hell in a Cell. If you think that's too much, Mudslide, you can fucking suck my dick and get the fuck out of my chat.
Champion? Now you know only when you beat the tribal chief, and because of our cousin.
And if that was said in a serious way and not sarcastically, you can get the fuck out of my chat. Seriously.
And then Jacob Fatu comes out here. Practically buried.
We're looking into night 2.
But Jacob Fatu ever
on paper, night 1 was the better show,
he practically just
and it disappointed. What makes you think night 2 is going to be any better? What makes you think night 2 is going to be any better? This show failed to be better than WrestleMania night 2 on a WrestleMania in Las Vegas for a second year in a row that was critically shit on. Triple H is already batting from behind.
Secondary champion.
We're going to get into this show tonight.
In fact, they called over secondary champion.
Appreciate you guys being here on this Saturday night. We got 5,100 people in here for this year's SummerSlam 2026 Night 1 post show right here on Off the Script. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. Make sure you guys go and check out all the great content on the channel. Plenty of it. Bro, I woke up today, and I usually just kind of post and move on. I uploaded my Danhausen rant, or a portion of my Danhausen rant, on TikTok, and I left it there. When I last looked at it, it was at like 48,000 views, which is good. It's good for my channel. I only got like 29,000 followers on TikTok. Bro, when I woke up today, I went to TikTok. God bless America. God Bless America today was sung by Vaughn Evelyn. Now, funny story, I was legitimately in my kitchen making an espresso tonic.
Amy wanted to change her career, so she got a Google IT support certificate. Now she can troubleshoot
Nugget ice from my new Govee Ice Maker Pro. Best thing I bought all year. Making my espresso tonic, I hear these screeching tones coming from the living room. And I'm like, God, that sounds awful. And I look up and I see this young woman in the ring. I stop what I'm doing. I leave my espresso tonic on the kitchen counter. I walk into the living room. I see the tail end of God Bless America being sung. And I'm like, holy shit, was this one of the worst renditions I've ever heard in my entire life? Poor young girl. What a terrible showcase. I come to find out that this is Triple H and Stephanie McMahon's daughter. Not good. Not good. I guess the company is trying to skimp on the budget. Even more so that they can't go and hire legitimate musicians. And they got the boss's daughter. Chief Content Officer's daughter. Singing God Bless America. Not only do we refuse to give our pro wrestlers legitimate entrance music to enhance their presentation and maybe build some good rapport with the audience to pro wrestler, but now we can't even be bothered to bring in an actual musician to sing God Bless America or the national anthem or America the Beautiful. Now we'll just get Stephanie and Triple H's daughter, who delivered one of the worst renditions I've ever heard. Start things off. Io Sky challenges Liv Morgan for the WWE Women's World Championship. This match went, according to Wikipedia, 13 minutes and 35 seconds. This was not bad. Io then hits Liv with her own finish, Oblivion. So I don't really understand why everybody's upset with Io losing the match. There is no division. They weren't going to do anything with Io as champion anyway. At the end of the day, I think this may actually serve to be the better of the stories. Roxanne Perez is winning Money in the Bank. She's going to cash in on Liv Morgan. They showed Mark Henry was the most over guy in this entire match, as was Solo Sikoa. Bro, Solo Sikoa. Solo is quickly making me a fan of his work. The guy is fucking entertaining. He's got a lot of that rock personality in him, where the other two brothers don't. You got one brother who is just kind of low-key, and Jimmy, he's just very, whatever. He's a very good promo. He can turn up the attitude when he wants. Then you got the other guy who's nothing but a fucking entrance merchant. Then you got Solo Sikoa, who's legitimately more charismatic than both of these guys combined. Both of his brothers combined. And he's got a little bit of that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in him. He's got a little bit of that entertainer in him. He's quickly making me a fan. He's funny. He's witty. He knows how to pop a crowd. He's sarcastic. He's got a lot of those key elements that really make him entertaining. So LA Knight and Solo Sikoa, everybody else is just kind of there. And man, oh man, did they fucking castrate Jacob Fatu. When Michael Cole used the word neutered in regards to Jacob Fatu on television after he lost 2 matches to Roman Reigns, boy, did they really mean that. Jacob Fatu doesn't even feel the same anymore. He's just there. He's a guy that exists. He's a guy in the bloodline. This guy's a future main event fucking top-level guy, and they got him doing henchman work in the bloodline. This match got started, and all 6 guys went at it. Knight's team went at it against the bloodline. Jimmy took out Royce Keys and LA Knight with a big dive. Solo and Jey Uso start going at it blow for blow. Solo eventually got the advantage on his brother. Solo then gave the sound guys the signal to run it back, and he starts yeeting. More people yeeted for Solo Sikoa than they did Jey Uso. Jay did the whole thing in the entrance, but when Solo ran it back in the middle of the match, he used it as a way to mock his brother. At Minneapolis, US Bank Arena, US Bank Stadium, came unglued with Solo Sikoa running it back. I legitimately laughed because I didn't really expect him to do that. When Jey Uso does it, I want to fucking just rip my eyes out. I thought this was great. Solo obviously was doing a little bit too much, and Fatu came in and dropped him with a Samoan drop. Fatu no-sold it, hit Solo with a super kick, and he follows that up with a senton. So Jimmy stomped away at Solo in the corner. The Bloodline are in control. They're working over Solo in their portion of the ring. We got legitimate chance at SummerSlam for let's go Solo. Let's go Solo. Fatu hits Solo with a hip attack in the corner. They did a little double instant replay in the corner. Fatu dropped LA Knight with a super kick, sent him out to the floor. He wasn't even in the match, but he dropped him with a super kick. Solo and Fatu clotheslined each other. Both guys ended up double down. Tags were made. In comes Royce Keys. And in comes Jimmy Uso as Jacob tags into Jimmy. Royce Keys planted Jimmy with a world's strongest slam. Mark Henry was sitting in the crowd with the rest of the busted open fellows. They were right behind Michael Cole all night, so shout out to Mark Henry for the world's strongest slam by Royce Keys. Jay runs in. He got a spine buster from Royce Keys. Fatu jumped in. He got knocked off the apron. Jimmy caught Keys with a multiple series of super kicks. Jimmy pulled Keys to the mat. He goes up top. Royce Keys followed Jimmy up. This took what seemed like forever. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but it looked like Royce Keys could not get his footing, and he couldn't get Jimmy the way that he needed to. So it took about legitimately 45 seconds for these guys to execute what they wanted to execute. And I'm not even sure if what they executed was what they wanted to execute. Royce Keys does a swinging power slam off the top rope, off the middle rope, to Jimmy Uso. LA Knight finally gets in as the legal guy. In comes Jey Uso. They go at it. Everybody's all into LA Knight. Babyface against Jey Uso. Fatu jumped in. LA Knight knocked him off the apron. Knight, he dropped his big elbow for a near fall on Jey. Jey came back with his very lazy and half-assed looking spear. He goes for a quick cover. He gets a near fall. Jey goes up top. Knight popped up there with his signature superplex spot, jumping up to the top rope. He delivers it perfectly. Jimmy dove off the other top rope, hits a big splash on LA Knight. Solo took out Jimmy with a Uranage. Jacob Fatu took out Solo with a big implant DDT. Royce Keys drove Jacob Fatu into the mat with his signature spine buster. So Jacob Fatu and Royce Keys go out to the floor. Fatu charges at Royce Keys, who's hanging out by the timekeeper's area. Royce Keys, in a great-looking spot, power slammed him over the timekeeper's barricade and onto the floor outside, taking them both out of the match from this point on. Back in the ring, Jey hit Knight with another spear because that's all he knows. Jimmy comes off the top with another splash. That's all he knows. Knight kicked out at a 2 off of Big Jim's big splash. Uso set up for 1D. Solo Sikoa grabbed Jimmy in the middle of a 1D. Delivered a Samoan spike. LA Knight catches Jey with a BFT because Jey turned around and seen that the 1D wasn't happening. LA Knight catches Jey, turns around, BFT, 1, 2, 3, and the babyfaces win. This was theoretically babyfaces versus babyfaces because they haven't really labeled the Bloodline as a heel faction, but they do certainly act heelish. Don't know why anybody expects us to boo LA Knight, and right now, even Solo Sikoa. LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Solo Sikoa beat the Bloodline. They're going to need these little victories here and there, chat, because what you are watching is basically 6 men out of the 8 or 10 that will be involved in this year's War Games, which I am telling you right now, I am not looking forward to. If WWE gave you such a disappointing Hell in a Cell, what makes you think that they're going to book War Games any differently? What you're watching is basically the War Games match right before your very eyes, minus Roman Reigns and whoever other baby faces they want to include in this thing. Maybe we see Zilla Fatu, being that it's in Houston. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. This was fine. It wasn't bad. But if you're asking me if this was a SummerSlam match in which I had fun, it wasn't bad. This fit more on a Monday Night Raw than it did on a pay-per-view. The story coming in is not interesting enough to make this a premium live event match. And that's the fact of the matter. Like LA Knight says, that's just a fact of life. Fact. This story is finished. It is not interesting. Nothing about this version of the Bloodline is interesting. Nothing about this Bloodline story is interesting. Yet WWE is asking me to invest my time and emotion into characters that I don't care about. If LA Knight isn't an odds-on favorite to win Money in the Bank this year, and maybe cash in on Roman Reigns, I don't know what the fuck we're doing. LA Knight is clearly just as over as he was 3 years ago. People aren't in a situation where they want to let go of LA Knight. Do you want to know why? Because LA Knight is the quintessential wrestler that the fans know has been held down by bad creative. He is the quintessential wrestler that they know, that has worked his ass off, that they continue to support every single week, every single month for the last 4 years, who they want to see get what he truly deserves. They're not going to let that go. WWE can try to convince you that LA Knight is yesteryear, that he is a guy that you need to move on from. But if you think the LA Knight discussion about him winning Money in the Bank is all of a sudden going to die down this year, motherfucker, they are going to be stronger than ever. Stronger than ever. There's really nobody else on the men's side that should be even viable for the Money in the Bank outside of Braun Breaker. And I'm not even sure that even works right now, depending on where he is. Seeing where he is right now, why would you even want him sniffing a world championship? This was fine. Was it premium live event worthy? No. No, it was not. Gunther. He went one-on-one with a returning Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis. This is Nick Aldis' first match in 3 years.
Well, I might as well just end the video. Till next time, hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. I will do Summerslam Night 2 live stream with you tomorrow night. We'll see what happens there. Hopefully better than this. I made my video long enough, so I'll see y'all later.